Most carbon frames have one thing in common: a made in Taiwan sticker somewhere on the frame, and that's just fine. But what if that sticker said made in Italy instead? For decades, nearly every big bike brand has relied on factories in Asia to make their carbon frames. It's efficient, it's proven, it's low cost, and it's how the bike industry works. But now a few brands are trying to change all that by bringing carbon manufacturing back home. And one of them, 3T, is doing things in a very different and unique way. I got the chance to visit their factory in Italy recently to see how carbon bike frames are made from start to finish. And as you'll see in this video, the process looks nothing like the more traditional mold and layout method we're all used to seeing in the bike world. What makes this factory so interesting isn't just where the bikes are made, it's how they're made. Because instead of sheets of carbon fiber being hand laid into molds, the way most frames in the world are built, these ones actually start as a long, thin carbon filament. This filament is woven together into tubes using a fully automated machine, a process called filament winding. It's a similar process to some other bike manufacturers like Time, but has one key difference. The filaments are woven together into tubes with mandrels dictating the shape of the eventual tubes. Once that's done, the tubes are set using resin transfer molding, a technique that gives the frame its final stiffness and strength without the messy, labor-intensive layout process most factories use. Making carbon bike frame does sound very complex indeed, but you know what isn't complex? Making websites with today's sponsor, Squarespace. Decades ago, I designed and built websites for a living, but now with Squarespace, anybody can build a professional looking website in minutes. It really is that easy. I love how you can choose from a massive library of templates to suit your website needs, the colors, the layout, the text, and everything on that website, and then easily customize it with a drag and drop interface, adding plugins for e-commerce, newsletters, social media networks, videos, and much, much more. If that's not simple enough, there's even Blueprint AI, which generates a fully custom website in just a few easy steps. It really is simple and easy. Anybody can build a website. So whether you're selling bike products or running a bike shop or want to share your cycling stories, photos or videos with the world, building a website with Squarespace is a smart and easy choice. And you can sign up right now for a free trial at the link down below. And if you do enjoy it, and I'm sure you will, here's my special discount code for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Right, let's see how a carbon frame is actually made.
At 3T we have developed a pretty unique production process which is completely different from the standard one used in Asia, which is called pre-preg. In here we've developed a technology which is based in filament winding, so we have sort of filament winding machines that they cannot be shown at all, but they are able to produce on an automated way all the tubes of the bikes. And the particularity of this machine is that it is able to create or to produce not round tubes but complex shapes, dry fiber, and stable preform. No? As I say, this is the real deal of the process. So this process starts with it's based on 3 pillars mainly. One of these is the automation. So you can see here how a machine is making all the tubes of the bikes. The second thing is that is based on how we purchase the raw material, how's the supply chain of the raw material, and in this case the beginning of the process is the carbon filament, is the carbon thread. So there's no easier way of buying carbon fiber, right? So this is the second advantage of the process, and the third of it is that since we don't work with pre-preg, our raw material can be stored at room temperature. Right? If you are to work with pre-preg, you need to store the raw of carbon fiber on a freezer because otherwise the resin will cure. So right now what we have on the machines is that they're making all the tubes of the main triangle. This particular case is the extrema. Okay, so now it's making the head tube of the extrema. It did in the past the down tube, and then it will move to zip tube, to top tube, etc.
Is that an advantage over the more common pre-preg?
Well, as I said, it's pros and cons, right? Like every part of the process. So if you see here, this is process which is running really long fiber. It's a process which offers really long, or it offers fiber continuity. Okay, sorry. While in prepregs, you have to put this small sheet one on top to the other, and at the end, a carbon prepreg frame is made about of what? 400, 500 little pieces. This puzzle is definitely smaller. So the fiber continuity, right? We are connecting the main loads point of the bikes. We are connecting them with a single filament. So performance-wise and feeling-wise of the bike, this is clearly an advantage. And that's why I think we've measured that. That's why the made in Italy frames, they behave different than the made in Asia ones. You know, I have this reactiveness, this responsiveness, right? Then I think, and this is due to the long fiber, the fiber continuity. About 70 to 80% of the fiber weight of the frames, depending on the model, it's produced with these machines. Yeah. So we are able to automatize a huge amount of fiber placement onto the frame, while with prepreg is clearly 100% manual. So I'm not sure that type of process will work on Western cultures, to be honest. So that's why this is a process that, you know, it works also better with a life and with our work philosophy, which is really important as well if you want to succeed here. So the first part of the process, as you saw, is the winding. Then after that, there's a manual cutting process in which we start creating what's going to be later the connection between the different tubes. In this case, this is the down tube of the strata, right? And in here you can see now what's going to be later on the connection with the head tube, and what's going to be the connection with the bottom bracket, but also with the seat tubes in here. And I've said many times, the real deal is that I can hold in my hands a complex shape, because this is not a round tube. This is a complex shape preform, which is hollow on the inside. You know, that's my hand. Yeah. Okay, but it's stable. Okay, it is very delicate. Okay, I cannot push it harder, but it's stable, so it can be manipulated. I can install the bladders inside. I can add the reinforcement I need to. So we don't need to have an inner core in which lay the fibers. So this is a huge advantage for the process, right? We don't need those inner cores because the preforms by themselves are stable.
It's very kind of frayed at the end.
It is because what we say about the fiber continuity. At the end, you have these filaments here. These filaments, they need to be placed and laid in the mold properly afterwards. But you know, they run all the way until the very end. So we are actually, this is a process we guarantees a proper fiber continuity. If I will put this filament, I don't want to do it because otherwise I will destroy the preform, but this filament, it's going all the way until the bottom bracket. So we are, the main load points of the bike, they are connected with a single filament. In this case, this is the seat tube of the Strada, which we are able to do also with the filament winding machine.
Very complex shape.
Yes, it is. So actually, in the seat tube, we have some angles limitation to be produced. So seat tube is half produced with the machine. Then the production operator will do manual reinforcements on the tube, and then the machine will continue.
So there are some limitations to the process, but you work around them with.
Exactly. So at the end, there's no one technique to produce all. You know, you mix different techniques. In our case, filament winding techniques is 70% of the construction of the frame, while the remaining 30 to 20%, it is a manual hand layer process, right? The kit is where we start putting together all the tubes of the bike. So kits is a sort of a pre-assembly we do before going to the mold. Okay, and in here we will do some of tubes connection. We will put all the bladders inside, but also we will complete the missing fiber weight of the frame. And a good example of how efficient our process is compared with the traditional pre-pregs is this small piece. This small piece is done like with the traditional hand lie-up process, dry fiber, but still hand lie-up. And here is where the system will be bonded afterwards. But what you can see in here is a small piece made out of 3 types of material. So this is one type of material. This is a braided tube. This is another type of material. This is a twill, is a fabric. But also on the inside, that's also running some unidirectional. That's the kit. It was gonna be later on.
So everything on that tray is going to there.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And these bits are sort of joining sections.
Exactly. So joining sections at the end, they are like sort of the traditional process, but they're very few. Okay. Very few compared with the 400 puzzles that the standard pre-pregs technology will use.
What's this piece here then?
This is to reinforce the wall, to reinforce for the corner, because the corners are hard to fill with fibers. Okay. So we use another material. This is actually part of our recycled fiber.
Okay.
We use this recycled fiber to fill the gaps or to fill spaces where later on some resin will go. The bottom head tube insert. This is the bottom bracket.
How do you ensure bottom brackets are like tolerant and round? And
because this is a lathe part. Yep. Okay, so like this is a CNC part that you can really ensure proper tolerances, and then they get bolted one onto the other. So to be sure that it's perfectly straight and they are perfectly aligned. This is short fiber, but we use to fill gaps, okay. to fill gaps. Yeah.
Quite a shortcut having the pieces pre-made over there to then go in the mould with just a bit of.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a short process, this one, eh? But yeah, I think the fact that you already have pre-assembled most of the frames, it definitely helps, It definitely helps. You've seen all the molding process, all the preforms, all the different patches, they are placed, mold is closed, mold stays within this table, we don't use presses, okay? We close them all with bolts, and they all are self-heated, okay? They all have their own resistances. That's why, like I say, part of the process being more efficient than the traditional pre-preg is not only because of the pre-preg needs to be stored on a freezer, but it's also because we heat what we need to heat. We don't use presses with heat plates, so we heat directly the molds. And also the temperatures we use are lower than pre-pregs. So our curing times are at a lower temperature, but also they are shorter because we have free choice of resin. So mold is closed. On one side of the mold, we put vacuum, and then on the other side of the mold, we put resin under pressure. And the resin will go and impregnate all the fibers until the resin comes out. When resin comes out, then we let it cure. At the end, the quality, the surface quality of an RTM, because this process is called RTM, resin transfer molding, it's usually better than pre-pregs. Because keep in mind that we are sort of continuously, putting resin in, no? So if there are small gaps or whatever, they get filled. So the outer quality of not the structural, but the outer quality, it's usually better on resin transfer molding than pre-pregs. of the advantage of the process compared with pre-preg, because in pre-preg, the looking of the frame is really depending on how you place the first layer. In these points, resin is, let's say, flowing, let's call it this way. The resin that flows, it closes the potential gaps, They remove it when still hot. So this might be like now 65 degrees, this small. So this is now the perfect spot to get it out. Dale, no te preocupes. Be careful because now this is
And there we are, done.
done. This is the frame out of the mold, exactly, and this is just out of the mold. You have resin is already in, it cures, it hardens, so now we have a proper composite part. You see all the fibers pattern, all the different patches, and now it's one piece, it's one together.
So that's just excess.
Yeah, this is the excess of resin.
Resin, okay.
Yeah, this is resin, and then this later it goes into the finishing process in which it gets deburred, it gets drilled, and it gets prepared for finishing, and it gets prepared for painting.
It's not possible to do a frame in one process, just the size of mold.
It's making it more complex because the less insert it has, the easier it is to work with. The job of the people, the better quality you are gonna get. So it can be made, but for us it works well this way.
So that creates a very strong joint there, I guess.
Yeah, because at the end, like the female part is created by the rear triangle mold, and the male shape is created by the main triangle mold. So actually, you have here in this area you have an overlap of fiber. So actually, people will say, this is the weak part of the frame. It is not, it's the strongest. This is sort of a pre-assembly check. So we check seat posts, we check hangers, we check beadings, we check bottom brackets.
Do you get many that have to go back or don't make it?
Yeah, at the end it's a bit of a back and forth. No, I mean, when they make it to this process, because at the end, each step they have its quality checks, no?
Okay.
So yeah, what Luca's doing now is being sure that what everything has been done before is being done properly.
So
right?
every frame gets the same process?
Yes, yeah, 100%, 100%. Frames are QC approved here. Frame is rideable, clear. It is a raw frame, it needs to be painted, and but eventually it can be assembled as a bike if you wish.
No, I'm
asking.
The more steps you have on the production process, the longer it takes to get the frame into real serial production. So actually, we launched the Extrema end of 23, the first two sizes. But in less than 1 year and a half, we've launched two models with 4 sizes. If you think about it. So, and this is not because of, I think we're good at what we do, no? But it's also because the process allows us to do that. It's so simple in a way,
And you can make changes and updates more easily, different standards or...
Yeah. We all the managers seen like fixtures that are 3D printed, so we are really quick on adapting the process, because at first it's 100% right. So you go on the process, you adapt it, but I think the important thing is that to be quick at that, because if you discover, let's call it that way, an issue with an Asian product, until that issue is fixed, it takes months.
Yeah.
But the thing is that during those months, they are making frames, There's not something you stop. If we find something weird here, we stop it, we move to another one, we fix it, and then we continue. And then it takes days, It takes days.
So So that is how 3T has managed to bring carbon fiber manufacturing back to Italy. It doesn't replace the frames that are made in Asia, but sits alongside them for those customers who want a frame made in Italy. And I've been fortunate to ride one of these Italian-made bicycles, and you can see my review of the Strada Italia on a video right here.